Music by D-U-D-E.
I guess for y'all, welcome to the Equals Podcast. We've been doing this for a little minute. My name is Daniel.
And I am Katie Joy.
Her name is Katie Joy. Okay, so we're using pseudonyms.
Should we? Did you just use yours?
I could
You
say
said
Shongo.
Dan.
You know,
Did you
whatever.
say Dan? Okay.
did say
Well,
Dan.
I'm Candace.
You know,
So
we getting to know each other. It's just like we getting to know y'all. I've known Candace for a little minute. We're not getting to know each other here. But yeah, welcome to the first full length episode of the Equals Podcast, the podcast where black men and black women can come together and have dialogue.
So what's it about? It's like relationships. It's music. It's business. It's whatever comes to mind at the time.
I'm about to say it's all that, but at least for me, I know my overall view and goal for this thing is to have black men and black women come back together and get back to speaking, because I see so much divisive commentary online, and I don't like that. So,
I know, like black men and women getting along.
yeah, right. That doesn't happen.
It does exist. It happens.
Like, wait, black men actually getting relationships with black women? Where does that happen? Like,
well, you know, I'm probably like the person that they're gonna kick off the podcast, because I be down with the vanilla squirrel every now and then. I'm not against it.
To each their own. You know?
I'm not against a little butter pecan, a little chunks in the vanilla. I don't know.
I mean, you know, that's Katie Joy. So, you know, like I say, we don't knock it. You know,
but I love black love.
Yeah. So
that's,
and sometimes it can be complicated.
It really can.
Shout out to Dude, man. Dude's behind the boards. Y'all might see him on like the little snippets of the first episodes that we did. But Dude, he's now the full-time producer on this thing. So, you know, shout out to him and everything that he has going on.
And black love.
And black love.
And
That's
black love. Because that is real black love.
I let it be. You know, I let it be. You know what I'm saying?
I think black love is just so beautiful. Like when you see it in its fullness, like I will say this: you may not agree with the Obama's politics, but you could tell they have each other's back. I think a lot of times when you see, one of the things I saw somebody post is you see these couples, these black couples, and you're like, hashtag goals, or you see couples in general, hashtag goals, and you really don't know what it took to build it. And I feel like you need to know the stories. Nobody's taking the time to get to know like what made it work. Some people, like now, if somebody does one thing wrong and I'm guilty of it, I'm done talking to you. Because there's the internet, there's somebody else. And when it comes to black love, we just got to be more patient, like our forefathers. I wouldn't even say like our ancestors, just like your grandma was married 30, 40 years and you mad because he, you know, didn't like your picture, your selfie or something like that, you know.
Well, I don't know. Well, like you said, I guess with Obama and Michelle, it's more so, like I say, you see a level of commitment in what you said. I got your back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, to me, that's the overall thing that trumps love, is that I know you, you know me, we cool, but I got you. And I ain't gonna turn my back on you in any sense of the word. So
right.
At the end of the day, we might not be, we might not be on good terms, maybe emotionally, but no matter how mad I am at you, we good.
Right.
We gonna work this out. So once we get back to that level of understanding, because to me it has to be much more than that emotional bond as well.
The like and the affection and all of that. Because
Yeah,
it fades.
Not always gonna be there.
Yeah.
You know.
Have days you just hate your guts.
Yeah, but for me, I don't know. For me, it's more of a intellectual compatibility. That's what'll keep people around.
Let me tell you, I had this crush on this guy, and he hadn't even. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you, he ain't graduate high school, but I promise you, if I see him right now, I'm gonna try and feel on him. And then, and like I don't know what we talk about, like, but we always have something to talk about. And for me to be such the opposite to be such a
I mean,
school
just
person.
him not graduating high school doesn't mean that he's not. You know what I mean? So he's a
He didn't graduate.
he's a box of rocks up there. He don't.
He know it. He know it.
Is-
But he's sweet.
Is it the physical? Is it
What?
is it a physical thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. You know, you can't control that. But I guess the kind of guy at this thing.
A smile, a smile that would make you forget all the earth around you and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
You're not gonna get around biology. You know, those pheromones are gonna keep. So.
So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
darn.
a lot of that stuff is innate. You're not even going.
Right.
You don't even know what's going on.
But I do like a person I can really have a conversation with about real things. Like that to me is rare. Cause I'm trying, like I'm really just new and out in this, dating thing. And if you bore me, like I don't know how to tell you, like that's not enough. I'm looking for common ground. I'm trying, So I think we have to have more tolerance and more patience with each other.
I don't know. For me, that's like one of the most unattractive things ever. Like when a woman has a lack of intelligence, it be real. But that's me. That's me. Everybody's not the same.
This one guy I dated, he was like, "Man, you a breath of fresh air," because I thought they didn't exist. Because a lot of times you meet girls that are caught up in just like hair and nails and things like that, and I think beauty is important, but we have to have substance too.
Right.
And I think the American, I was listening to this lady. She has something like wife school or something, and she really teaches you how to be like a 1950s vacuuming. Like she's gonna ask you like, how long does it take you to clean your house from top to bottom? And you only gotta have an hour. Like, oh, it takes me 2 hours. Like, only wear this type of hairstyle, that kind of thing. And it's like it has to be a happy medium because men in America have different tastes than what just like Susie homemaker cookie cutter. Like you can cook and clean and everything.
Well, I think like those things are kind of like the basics, honestly. Like being able to cook and being able to clean, those are basic life necessities.
I'm hoping like that a man knows how to do that too.
Yeah, I mean he should at this because in the 21st century, most of us had to learn how to cook and clean ourselves because our parents were at work.
Yeah,
a lot of us were latchkey kids. We came home
was.
and there was no one home. It was us. So it can't just be simply cook and clean. But I say that to say this. On the flip side, a lot of guys like to talk about a woman submitting to them, submission. Then at the same time, you have to be in your own power to even be able to accept that type of submission or for a woman to want to. You can't have somebody that doesn't want to. Even if you can have all the money in the world, but if you're not, authentic, you know what I mean? Like she can fake it for a little while, you know what I mean? But you never gonna get that
trap. That's what I call it.
And at the same time, too, a lot of women get it twisted, on that independent tip, not realizing that a lot of those feminine qualities actually is your power. That's your trump card over the man. A lot of times, women have they certain manipulation tactics that a lot of women these days aren't tapping into. Just it be little certain things that you can do. I don't care how strong I am, how strong it's like.
Share the tips.
That man is gonna.
Share the tips. Tell the secrets.
No, I'm just saying, like, let's say, I don't know. It's kind of these days, like, everybody, is, I guess, like, hopping to bed and I can replace him instead of learning to hone your craft as a woman and, being in it.
Busted challenge?
I mean, I don't have a problem with the busted challenge. Don't get me, please.
I'm gonna, hold on. So, this is the thing. I actually had this argument with my father because I was... Like, he is from the early 50s. Mm-hmm. So, cooking and cleaning, being that is the only values he sees in a woman. And I'm like, I'm like, I'm up here like trying to
But
wash his dishes and things like that. And I'm like, I said, if it'll be easier for me to be with a man who doesn't want me to be stressed out, I don't mind cooking and cleaning if I'm not stressed out from like my whole day, you know,
I think
or from you.
There's nothing wrong with the old school mind frame of thinking because you have to think of where they're coming from in those mind frames. You know, a lot of times, like a lot of these dudes, you didn't need no high school degree to be
hold
running a home.
yeah.
Like
I agree.
I'm working for the plant at 15, and I'm about to start a family. Like I'm out here getting it. So at that point in time, like I'm making enough money to be able to have a home and sustain a family by myself. That's what I'm looking for the wife to do. So you know what I mean? Like so that's why I don't see. But these days it's a little different. You know what I mean? Just because a lot more women are getting into the workforce, and women in school are far surpassed. Black women aren't y'all like on the top of the list?
We're the most educated demographic in America. I just want to put that out.
It's not unnormal for the woman to be the breadwinner.
You know what's crazy is I don't know if I can handle that. But the thing about it is, how would you do that if your girl made more money than you? Like, how would you handle it?
I feel like it's back to that point of I got your back. So as a man, your woman might initially be the breadwinner, but I feel like there would be something innate in you, like, nah, I gotta get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because either she's going to be an inspiration to you and somehow, or she's going to be in your ear, like, hey, you need to be back in school. You need to be at least striving to be that there. Person. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So that's my thing. But a lot of, I don't know, I see a lot of women let men get away with a lot of things.
Yeah, I was like, there has to be a balance, and I think everybody goes to extremes. Like those independent women, like they are like super duper duper.
These days, a lot of men are letting a lot of women get away with a lot of things as well. That ain't gonna cut it. But you know what I'm saying? Like it comes back to that thing of commitment. Are you really committed to this person? All of their flaws and all. You should be looking to change this person. This is who they are.
And you see
can y'all be cool? And can you have each other's back? Like at the end of the day, like I got you. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that trumps any type of physical or emotion to me. Though that is also an important aspect of a relationship. Like, to me, you know.
I think people are turning relationships very transactional, and the generosity is gone. Like, he bought me Jordans, or he gave me $40. Oh, she's gonna sleep with me because I took her out to Applebee's. Those is some kind of transaction that's going on. It's almost like, are you prostituting or what? You know, like,
message.
And on both sides, like, we can't be transactional because love transcends that. You have to be generous. You have to not be tit for tat. Like, I did this for you, you do this for me. It's like, this needed to be done for us. I took care of it.
I'll tell you the main thing that will let me know to get out of a relationship. Whenever you unveil something like, hey, this hurts me, you know, like this is something that I feel is painful, but I'm discussing it with you. And then when you get in an argument, that person throws that in your face, like just to try and hurt you. Yeah. That lets me know, oh, you don't have my back at all.
Vicious.
Yeah. So like that tit for tat, or like you said, I did this for you, I did this, that, and that. Like, no. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, even in a general friendship, that's a signal for me. Like, oh, no. That is, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I can fight it in you with something, or, you know, shit, I needed to hold something from you, you know what I'm saying? And hell, if I got it back to you, you know what I'm saying? We in constant communication, I can see if it's a different thing of, you know what I mean? I just ain't got it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? But just I don't know. No, I say I think it's a lot of things that because friendships ain't the same no more.
Right. I put this rule out there, and I think my dad taught it to me. I was like, when you lend somebody money, it's how much you pay them to get out your life. So when you giving people things, you just make sure you're doing it out the kindness of your heart, and that you can miss that.
Yeah, like I say, whenever I lend some to somebody, it's more so with the understanding of I might not get this back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but you got to know who you giving to as well and stuff like that. But I want to go back to something because you brought up the Bussy Challenge and it made me think of something because I don't know if it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I remember my one of my coworkers, she was having a conversation. She's a mother, and she was saying, she was I guess popping with her friends, or you know how y'all do, with your girlfriends, twerking with your girlfriends and whatnot. And her son saw her and got upset, and I had the commentary. I was like, well, if I saw my mom twerking, I would feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like that would hurt me. That would hurt my soul to the core.
Right.
So I understand where that young man's coming from because he has in his mind, his mom's different. His mom is, you know what I'm saying? Like, to which we all grown, but it's like that's kind of a conversation that needs to be had because again, that's where your power lies. That thought of she's different. She's, you know what I'm saying? Like she's
a good girl.
Yeah.
I give off that. The last couple of guys that there when we had a scene when there was like poetry and things to go to before COVID hit, like this guy, he hollered at me and he was like, oh, I didn't expect you to say yes because I thought you were a good girl. Like, I'm like glad you're giving me a chance because I didn't know he had a reputation.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I didn't think anything of it. But you can't, I hope that is what it is. I don't let everything out on the internet.
Yeah.
I want to do Busted Challenge, but my knees right now it'll be 2025. I'm doing squats. And I feel like eventually, but I don't know if I'll do it on camera.
Well, like I say, this, and a lot of us get caught in it, living for the moment. I'm grown.
Yeah.
My kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, I raised my kids, they ain't gonna see everything.
They're gonna see it.
Yeah.
But how do you explain the culture to them?
You know who I really feel bad for?
Who? Tell me.
Cardi B's daughter. That child.
Oh,
honestly, think about that. Like, you have to have the conversation of where did I meet? You know what I'm saying? How did dad meet mom? You know what I'm saying? And okay, and then all right, everybody say all
Kim
that.
Kardashian child.
Yeah, like all of these children, these entertainment children. But at the same time, like I say, I bring up Cardi B because, like there was a big deal about her not letting her daughter listen to the WAP channel.
Yeah.
What happens when her daughter gets old enough and is researching some of her mom's old music and she sees the video?
Well, she said she gonna let her see because somebody asked her whenever her child gets old if she wants to be a stripper. She was like, I'm gonna tell her and then I'm gonna show her how bad that life is.
I don't know because at the end of the day, I still kind of have an old school mindset. I mean, it's not even old school; it's real as far as my name is my name. My name carries my reputation, and not only for myself but my family.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like when somebody hears my last name because it's a distinct last name. Oh, you're a part of this clan. These are your people. And I ain't mean to cut you off.
No. I could talk all day.
But it's more so because I read this in this book, and it was more so about the ancient Japanese samurai. It was called Bushido, and it told this story of basically this man. He did something to offend the emperor who was in charge at the time. So his father was on the run. So, and their culture, the son was going to have to bear the brunt of the father's punishment.
Yeah.
But, so he had the choice to either I'm going to go to school or I'm going to run as well. And what the son did, he went to school. because he felt his family's reputation was on the line because, he felt like he was a man of his word and they were a people of honor. So that's my thing, and that's really getting into a broader topic because I feel like us as black people don't get into that. We don't realize that we are representing more than ourselves when we walk outside, and that is a major issue. So
for me, it's like the children. We have to protect the children, and right now, like I think twerking is fun and all of that, but let's see how much of it is culturally like the longer we go, the more loose culture is going to get. I don't expect it to get tighter. I don't expect people to turn around and go, well, we should all be modest. People are going to get naked and they're going to get more out there in public. But we owe it to the children that are in our lives to protect them and say, yeah, people can get naked, people can go out and twerk, but that's not what our family does.
Well, this is my thing. And, you keep using the word culture. And, I hate to say it, I got a problem with that because who is giving you that this is our culture?
Well, it's not ours. It's just a generic, like, this is what's going on in society right now. People out here busting it down.
Here's the thing. And back in the day, there used to be a distinct black culture.
Definitely.
This is, like, because, one, there was a sense of community. There really was a true sense of, if I ain't got it, I can go to my neighbor and they gonna look out.
That's gone.
And, that's all the way gone.
That's gone.
But I kind of, speaking with the elders, I ain't gonna get into that. I realized why. Because a lot of people are in these neighborhoods, maybe 1 or 2 years. They're not there for the long haul. So that sense of community is gone more so because of that. But I said that to say this, I hate to go like this, but these television, these magazines, all of these YouTubes, all of these things that are promoted to you of this is what's hot, this is what it is, we have to take a look back like, whoa, what is this teaching me truly? Yeah, have sex, drugs, rock and roll, and have a good time, all this, but in the long haul, what is the effects of that? You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you because to me it goes back to my family roots. This is gonna sound like bragging, but my grandmother had 10 kids. Mm-hmm. All of them have either a degree or a trade or something, and all of them had 2 kids, and they did the cookie cutter lifestyle because that's what we were taught. We're educated. You're a Bradley. You're this. You're that, and that was instilled in me. And I'm so grateful for my parents. Not that they were perfect, but I grew up until I was about 10 years old listening to nothing but gospel music because that's what they wanted me to hear. I wasn't exposed to. I would get on the bus with kids singing TLC and I didn't know who TLC was. And we as a community, like on an individual level, it's literally a one at a time thing. Your friends, when you guys have kids and get married and you set a standard for that, because we're not going to get the global sense of community back without that. We decide to raise our kids as with honor, ethically, and with the education, with true education. That means Saturday school. That means no, you don't get to go twerk with your friends, and no, you don't have an iPad because you don't need to see nothing that's on it. And we can't, like, the individualism for America has been taught because we've taken 1 or 2 people, promoted them, let them live in the suburbs, and taught them, like, hey, this is the life you should live instead of the community where you live pulling it up.
Well, you know what's crazy about that? I'm going to bring up 2 points. One, just because I'm glad you said that. So, me and Dude had these conversations all the time, and anybody who's ever seen my brother and his family, because my grandma, I think she had like 11 kids as well, and it's all the same. Either they went to college or they was in the military.
Yeah,
it's some type of but they're stable. Like doing.
Everybody was doing something.
Everybody doing well. So I say that to say this, like it's crazy that to even have a conversation of, there are people out there who don't even know who their brothers and sisters are. They going out and they met their brother and sister at the club. You know what I'm saying? Like just to even think about that, to fathom that. So not even to go too deep on that point, but to go back to where I was going, like, so if you were to meet my brother and his family, like he got a farm, like he's homeschooled all of them. My niece, she's about to graduate with her bachelor's in social work. She's 17. My nephew, he's 13. He wants to be a cardiophysiologist. If I said it wrong, my bad. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Like he's got his associates. He's well on his way. But and then my youngest nephew, like he's now old enough to know what he wants to do. He wants to be an architect. You know what I'm saying?
And the younger you start there. I know a guy was
like he building dog houses and stuff now. Like, but I say all this to say this. Like you said, like we get that. Okay, you out in the suburbs, you're doing it. You knee deep in debt. Nobody talking about that. You knee deep in debt. But you got the G wagon.
You making payments.
You know what I'm saying? You making them payments. But I go out there and they live on a farm. And if you go to the home, I'd say it's humble. Like it's a humble abode, but you see the love in that house and the joy, and I'm looking at it envious. Like, damn, they got everything. Like they got a farm. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I literally
go out and get their food,
run, play, scream. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? All my food right here. You know what I mean? Like.
To be able to pick your dinner. I think about my uncle's garden. Somebody gave me a tomato. I'm in this group called Slow Food. It's about just eating more organically sourced food, sitting down and eating with people instead of going to fast food. Like it's like no fast food ever. And this girl gave me a tomato out her garden, and it tasted like my uncle's tomato, and it just took you right back there.
And here's the thing, you know what? You brought up a real pertinent topic because people don't understand. Like we really got to get to know who and where our food is coming from.
Oh, yeah.
Because there is a much so importance of where it's coming from, because actually the importance of food, the earth is actually sending you messages through just like they tell you to get local honey, where your food is grown and where it's being sourced from. There's things that's going on. So you need to eat that because you are what you eat. Metabolically, you're going to basically become what you eat. So if you eating those green leafy vegetables and you getting the magnesium and you getting all that, because we really as black people, well, I'm really boiling this down to say have to start focusing on cardio and respiratory health. Because that's the end all and be all. If you have cardiac problems, 9 times out of 10, you're about to start having all other type of ailments. But I hate to get off.
I was just thinking about you being vegan and how I had pork this week, and
I ain't tripping on that. I really don't trip on meat, but I say that to say this. You was like, it tasted like your grandpa. You're like, why do you think it tastes like that? And the tomatoes aren't just tasting as good.
Because we specialize in giving heirloom seeds to each other. Yeah. Like that's like. We have a whole conference on heirloom seed plants. So the whole, like the little group I'm in, the food group I'm in, if we go out to eat, we try and eat at a local restaurant that does farm to table. Like something you're getting that's coming on my plate came out of the garden. Yeah. Or you getting the wine from the winery that is local. Like that's kind of like their whole thing. And we genetically modified tomatoes, like no flavor.
You have to realize why people don't want to eat these vegetables anymore, because it doesn't, like you say, it doesn't have any flavor. It's a clone. And
then no nutrients. Like the apples that we used to eat, like you had to eat 3 or 4 apples to get the nutrients from an apple that that your parents ate. and was like an apple a day kept the doctor away.
And it's crazy. And I just really, you know what I mean? Like, we have to get back to eating things with seeds that produce a seed. It should be able to reproduce. The one thing, the most important thing biologically to any cell is to reproduce.
Yeah.
To reproduce. So as a human, I know you don't want kids, but that is actually the main thing. That the one thing
Yes.
that you were supposed to do is to reproduce. So be fruitful and multiply. So, and we all
Just trying to make an impact in the world in general, and I
listen.
hope that's enough.
Here's the thing though, like, and I get that because I've been there. And I've been in that phase of I don't want no kids. I don't, you know what I'm
So
saying?
you've changed?
Yeah. Because I tell you when it happened.
Did you
I
fall
went-
in love?
No,
Oh.
that's not what happened.
I'm just
But
being a jerk.
let me tell you what happened. Honestly and truthfully. Last year, I think it was Black Friday. Was it last year or the year before last? But anyway,
Probably
it
19. Cause
yeah, because COVID and stuff was going on last year. Yeah, so 19, my aunt died. And, like, she was one of my aunt and my uncle, I don't want to say their names, but they're one of the, you know how you gravitate to certain family members. So she was one of those ones, So I'm sitting in the funeral, you know what I mean? And I'm seeing, and now this isn't, like my biological aunt. This is, my uncle married her. So, but I'm sitting in the funeral and I'm seeing all of my aunts and uncles that came in, to support and have his back. And then, and then I started thinking about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's the big part about the funeral. It's not, it is the funeral, to grieve and get that off.
Yes,
but
yes.
at the same time, it's the after. And y'all all together, you know what I'm saying? Like, supporting, laughing, having a good time, playing spades, dominoes, the whole
good
damn.
stuff.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I look at it like that. And then I think about my brother's kids, and I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, they
gonna have each other.
Yeah,
They're gonna have
you know
each
what I'm saying?
other.
Like, I got somebody, you know what I mean? Like, that I can fall back on, like, family. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I feel like our true strength is family. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I had to get back into that mindset. Now, at the same time, it's not going and having a child with just anyone as
Hey.
well. It comes back to that point. That's what I meant to bring up, because you said that, that the man and the woman have to get together and be committed to raising that child.
Yeah.
It used to be a thing, and I got this from another YouTuber. I think his name is Warrior Vegan or something like that. Vegan Warrior. And he was bringing up, like, basically how it was back in the day. Like, he said, when his wife got pregnant, he wasn't in love with her, but he was they sat down and had a conversation, and they were committed. It was like, you know what? All right, let's make this happen. You know what I mean? Because back in the day, there used to be a stigma on a child that was born outside of a wedlock.
Oh yeah.
A bastard child. They had a name. You know what I mean? So
I can remember the first person in my family group to have a baby out of wedlock that was around my age, and how much of a stigma that was. Like, there were 10 married couples in my family. Like, there were 10 kids, there were 10 married couples. And that I remember that thing. And I agree with you now. I saw this guy on Facebook. He was like, 2 kids not enough. And so I was like, you like, what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to be a surrogate for you and your wife. He was like, I take care of my kids or something like that. But he was willing to have more children without having a wife or a girlfriend. No commitment, just more kids out there. And I'm like, is this the normal thing? But it really is becoming more.
and here's the thing for me as well. I feel like that is something important psychologically for a child to see. That
Yes.
his birth mother or her birth mother and birth father together and in love. Because not seeing that, I feel, just somewhere deep in the back of their minds, like, well, what happened? Why y'all couldn't work it out? What, you know what I mean? Like, in those questions. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that life doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So don't get me wrong. Anybody that's out there listening to this and is like, well, I'm a bastard child. There's never, look, we were born in this. We didn't ask to come into this.
I was to say that.
What I mean? So
wasn't...
in no way am I trying to denigrate anything that you have going on, because I know a lot of people that didn't have their father and out there doing their thing on the fatherhood tip. But at the same time, like I say, that's a serious conversation that we need to have, because that's a dynamic, at least as far as, what I know. My father died when I was young, so I know what it is, what I ended up missing out on, because now I can see that's the father's role. The father was supposed to teach me certain things, that I'm not going to get from mom, and vice versa.
And to be honest, to reach the society that we all dream about but don't know how to work toward, we have to have those clear-cut lines that our family, like that the family structure is there, that we have some type of moral compass, some kind of structure. Because if it's always, well, yeah, I can just mess around and have a baby, then it will never get there. Families are the structure of any society. Like if you don't do that, you end up with more broken little.
So again, it goes back to biology. So the cell reproduces, and then once a lot of cells come together, what happens? They become
tissue,
and then it becomes the organ. And then it fills out the you
system. It makes a system.
So and to be honest with you, that was the answer to your question earlier that we were having about the administration. What is the solution? That's the actual solution. Yeah. But it's getting our mind frames back to that.
That I was like, as far as just like having a black agenda, like we just gotta be on the same page about one thing or two things.
They didn't get that initial conversation.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just gonna fill y'all in. We were talking about the new administration that was coming in, and Joe. President Joe and all that. So,
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. The whole point is, if black people had their own agenda, it wouldn't matter, because we would know what we wanted. And it just seems like so much to say. We want this one or two things. And like I said, we always are dreaming of this black unity society instead of just doing it. It takes just calculated steps. Instead of having babies willy-nilly,
well, here's the thing.
Have a family.
And I was just going to say this, and this ain't no conspiracy theory. All of these things that I say can be looked up. There is a active agenda against what you were looking for. Like, there is I hate to say war on black people, but in a sense it is. There are communities that's literally been bombed. So, everybody likes to talk about Tulsa and Black Wall Street, but hell, you can actually go to like the 1980s. There was a community in Philadelphia, a black neighborhood, that was bombed by your government. Drugs being brought in by your government. And then you have to look at these different, like I say, the things that are being promoted in the magazines, the separation.
I was going to say, individualism is really the thing that's being taught to us.
Right.
I listened to a person, and she was from Africa, and she is now in America, and she lived in Kansas, so she has no experience on what slavery did to us as a people. And she was fortunate enough, she's married, but she's never lived the black American culture. And so she doesn't see the importance of people banding together. And for me, it's, we were dropped off on these boats from all over, and nobody knows their true tribe. Some of us do, some of us don't. But we made a tribe here. We made a culture. We made a society. And over again, people have tried to pick away at it. They picked away at us being in a family. Then They picked away at our psychology by introducing drugs. And now it's this individual culture. Like, I have to be an independent woman and you have to be this simp. I think of a man. So now even if we were to want to come back together, it's back to that
Well,
tit for tat, and it's all just leading the word you need to hear is individualism instead of community, which is what's natural to Black people.
well, I mean, you're 100% right on that, and you know, I guess just from a man's perspective and seeing how things go, I think a lot of men get the term simp misconstrued. Because there is a such thing as being a simpleton and going out there just, buying stuff willy-nilly.
I've been a simp.
Yeah, I mean.
As a woman. Yeah. I just want to put that out there. I've done it a couple of times.
But at the same time, there's a difference between being a simp and courting a woman.
Yeah.
And having some type of nobility and gallantry in what you do, and where you see that going. Instead of being in a lustful mindset to get what you want. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. There is a major difference between simping and courting, and we have to get out of that mindset as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like I said, family, and then when it comes to like economy, I don't know. This is gonna sound like a brag too, but every check I get, I spend money with a Black business. Mm-hmm. I don't care what it is. Like, I don't have to talk about we need to support Black business. No, just do it. Just if we have, as Black women, one of the biggest groups of people who tithe can pay 10% of our check to a church, like, come on, buy some lotion. Buy eyebrow pencil or whatever. Buy something you actually need, a steering wheel cover or get an oil change. I don't know what I'm saying. Just to be honest, I worked on Cooper Road, which, like, to me, that's like Black culture personified. It could be its own Black utopia. This man explained it to me. He said, think about it. You could be on a Cooper Road with a flat tire and get help quickly because everybody there is more of a community. Mm-hmm. And even if they have one issue at the city of Shreveport, that whole neighborhood shows up,
Mm-hmm. Shout out to the C Road, man.
I love Cooper Road. I worked there for 5 years.
But you know what? Like, I hear, you know what I mean?
It was one of the only Black-owned gas stations.
It's exactly what you said. There's so much potential in the Cooper Road. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at it, like you said, there still is that family aspect out there. A lot of that is farmland. I be looking at it, I was like,
listen, I went to get a dress tailored to my body, and I turned off on this street, and I promise you, a goat crossed the road. The road ended. No. But I love the attitude of those people.
One of the few places that I saw where kids were still playing outside.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, still playing in the road, still, you know what I'm saying?
I worked there for 5 years, and it taught me so much. It taught me to say what I mean what I say. Yeah. It taught me community. There was a Black-owned gas station at the time. One of the Black-owned hair supply stores on Cooper Road. Like, I loved it, and I was like, if you could have a Black utopia, like, we should have more and more areas like that as Black people together, where you can, like they say, it's the only Black neighborhood where you can go from ECE to college and never leave. So
I gotta get Mama Roz, if Rosalind's out there, she ever see this, she gotta come on and give us a little more history on the Cooper Road, because she was breaking it down. Like, and Cooper Road has a lot of history to it.
Oh yeah, like Shreveport does. Yeah. We were like the contributions of Black people. Calanthian Temple. I was just
having this conversation my bad for cutting.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just having this conversation last night, and I was like, that's one thing, because the comment was made, apparently somebody said, I've never met this person, somebody said that New Orleans didn't have any culture, and that blew my mind. I was like, what? Like, that is culture. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, New Orleans, New York, You know what I'm saying? Like
If
Miami,
you've
like,
never been to New Orleans on a Sunday morning and see all these people,
like but that, you know what I'm saying? But that's how the conversation got started. Like somebody said that asinine statement, but again, but it was like now I said me personally, I was like I could see if someone said that Shreveport doesn't have any culture, to which on the outside looking in, it can be construed as that. But the reason that I said that problem is because we don't know the history of the city and we don't have any pride.
no
of that
identity.
culture. Yeah. So
This project that I'm working on secretly, it hadn't come out yet. Is about that, like about making youth like feel their obligation to be a citizen of Shreveport.
Right.
We keep hoping that a GM or a AT&T will relocate here, and that may very well happen, but we don't know when.
Well,
and we have to be the change. We have to be our own change.
and I feel honestly, even though I feel there is an effort to stop it, the arts as well is really
Yes.
the answer. And I feel like the arts are stifled here, and certain people try and put a monopoly on the arts.
It's almost like they're the cool kids. They've always been the cool kids, and what we say in the art community goes.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that happen, and I'm like, you don't get to put a stamp on my culture because I'm gonna do
But,
what I want to do.
well, and the reason that I say the arts is the signification of a community, a culture.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what the arts is. That signifies that I was here. You know, above food, water, shelter. You know, with shelter within itself can be its own art. You know, but that's another thing. But I'm just saying, like, so for that to be stifled, for you not to be able to just go downtown and see musicians and things of that nature, because anybody that's been to New Orleans, everybody knows you can go to Bourbon Street and there's going to be, you know, artists there.
A person with a crate.
But you can go to Frenchman. And once you go over to Frenchman and you cross over to Frenchman, that's when you're going to see all the live musicians. You can go into a club and there's a literal band in that thing jamming, and you having and it's so much different. It is so much different than going in and hearing, you know, the same songs you hearing on the radio or whatnot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you get the vibe. You know?
Yes,
So,
yes. I totally agree with you about art. I think art is like, art has changed, you know, art changed my life. So I always tell people, to me, as a sign of that society was here, that you had a chance to thrive.
Right.
Because if you just going to work, going home, you're not concerned about art. You going to work, going home. You might hear a song on the radio while you passing, but to be able to go to an art show, to go to the park and see a mural, that's thriving. That's the difference.
And like I said, I was having this conversation last night. So I will say this, you know, because that's how me and you met. You know, for those
through
that
art.
don't know, through art. So for me, that was like one of my things. Like if I got to where I wanted to go with the music or any type of way, say financially or, you know, socially or whatnot, it was to build some type of community art center. Actually, I was thinking of Cooper Road. But anyway, the reason that I said that, it's like, you know, I've been rapping for a little while now. But
Bars.
I met you through acting.
The theater.
And like I said, I was having this conversation last night. I was like, me as a heterosexual man, I never even fathomed getting on that stage. Like that wasn't even a, you know what I mean, a thought process like, you know, this an option. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, no disrespect, you know, like coming up in school, that just wasn't something that a straight man, you know, would just normally do. You know what I mean?
I think about all the gay men that have convinced me that they were straight in romantic
All right,
films.
we're not gonna talk.
And look, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, so you don't like women at all?
I mean, but you know,
I've been bamboozled.
Honestly though, like, and even when you get into theatrical history, you know, like back in the day, you know, they had the little boys playing the girls' role and stuff. So it's not like that's not
It's not
thing.
common.
You know
Like,
what I
is
mean?
it like a societal thing? Like,
Yeah, it's like why couldn't the woman play this role? I'm not trying to Romeo and Juliet. There was two dudes on stage. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like so,
but that also actually kind of comes from misogyny, not letting women work, not letting them
How
act.
misogynistic.
you like,
Y'all
I'm
about
not
to get why I
kissing.
be talking off camera, but
But that's from not letting women work.
all right. But yeah, back to what I was.
Back to what
Back
you
to
were
what
saying.
I was saying.
We met through theater,
We met
and
through theater, and the reason that I said that I wanted to build a community center and some type of artistic community center in our community is because I didn't know how therapeutic acting could be. Like it real deal was a form of therapy. Like me getting on that stage and having to deal with a whole realm of emotions. Not like not any type of comedy play or anything, like being serious and having to, bring out tears and bring out anger and bring out all of these
Yeah.
things in front of people. Like, so there ain't no, I get to contemplate on this, but I have to sit with these emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it real deal is a form of therapy. It's a science to it.
artist
as well.
therapy. There's
it's
music
therapy.
therapy.
So, like I say, but for the youth to not be exposed to it, like I don't
That's
think,
the tragedy.
yeah, like you know what I mean.
It's
Like
not-
that's the thing, to open up your mind. Like you know what I mean. Like this is possible. So, but yeah,
I know for sure. When I was in the 4th grade, I became a musician. And I think about all them nights I gave my parents headaches, my mom specifically, and my sister. They hated to hear me play. I sometimes hated to hear me play. And when I warmed back up, I still hate to hear me play. But it paid for school.
yeah.
And I think that, to me, now you can go to school and be a gamer and get a scholarship. We have a scholarship in my alma mater.
Here's my only
But-
thing about that. Oh, my bad.
But art being such an avenue for life, for therapy, art therapy is real.
Basically, at
It's-
the end of the day, there is no greater feeling than getting on that stage.
And putting your art out there.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Like we were in the orchestra, we meet in the orchestra, but you know what I mean. Like that was the thing for me. Like when I was young, and that's the thing. Like like I was talking about the war on black people. That's another thing. Like people don't recognize the arts are being slowly driven out of the schools. Like when I heard that substitute teachers were teaching music, like they were getting like permanent substitutes. Like you can't do that. How is that?
You can't.
Like,
Yes,
that's-
we can. We don't have the budget.
Right, but you do. You have it for everything
For
else.
sports?
Yeah, for football. Like
And then, to your point, people are telling us what the culture should be.
right.
And the twerking culture, like I like it. I mean, I'm not gonna never not like it. But for somebody who is younger or something to be told that that's your culture and that's not true,
That's the thing. And it's not that I don't like twerking culture, but
like it.
you see those videos of like Cab Calloway. You know how
Yes.
we used to get down in the like it real deal was an athletic event. You looking in the club,
About to
like,
do a
people
flip.
swinging and flipping and like, nigga. So it wasn't that. Wasn't hip gyrating in the club like it was going on, you know what I mean? And we've had a lot of problems going on that, honestly and truthfully, the older generation try and sweep under the rug. You know, and they try and beautify.
Yes.
But there are a lot of things that were going on. But at the same time, there are things that can be prevented. So, to know where you're going, you have to know where you came from. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I was thinking about this. So I had the pleasure of talking, I think briefly, or hearing. I went to the MLK and when they opened the monument in Washington, and we were talking to some old people. We saw Jesse Jackson, we saw Al Sharpton, so we gravitating toward them, trying to march where they marched. And it was this older person talking about when we used to march.
Yeah, I'm just messing.
What did you say?
I said I'm not marching.
Oh, nah, I'm done marching. But when we used to march, everybody dressed nicely, like in your nicest clothes, in your nicest things, because you knew, like, there was a pride in how you dress. Like, my mom had to go to school with a dress and
me
get
tell you
down on her
something.
knees.
Speaking of that, and prayer.
Uh-huh.
But let me tell you something. There's this John Henry Clark documentary. If you don't know who John Henry Clark is, look him up. But It's called Great and Mighty Walk. And he was basically talking about Harlem culture. And he said that back in the day, there was a thing on Sundays. Men and women would get dressed up in they finest, regalia, whatever, and just walk the streets of Harlem just so a man could show off his lady. Like,
Yeah.
that was it.
That
Like,
was
I got
Texas
pride
Ave.
to show off, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this me. You know what I'm saying?
This my stuff.
Yeah,
It
you
was-
know what I'm saying? But
We had Pretty Wednesday at my school.
But you gotta think of like what type of pride, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
man, I'm gonna get as fly as possible just to come out here and step. Them was the steppers.
But that was in Shreveport. That was Texas Ave. That was
Yeah.
Calanthian Temple.
So
that was
it
what we
wasn't-
had.
Yeah, like I say, it was universal. And I made that comment too. Like, once you actually get to travel, you see, like, everybody says these places are different, but really the world is the same. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can go to Cozumel and have the same conversation. Well, have had the same conversation with the Mexicans running the ancient artifacts. Like, we at the ruins and we talking, but it's the same thing. Like, we having the
Definitely.
same conversation over here that I'm having at home. You know what I'm saying? So it might aesthetically look different, and y'all might say things a little bit different, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So so people have to understand, like, all of this it's a symbiotic relationship. We have to get off that individualism, because to get where we want to go, we have to build back this sense of pride and family. So I'm not saying, like, to be on that banner of, you know what I mean, like, we all gotta, I don't even know what y'all be saying.
Why you not marching no more? I'm being messy.
Well, here's my thing. To me, marching is a tactic. So without you going to, the city council meetings and going to the actual places that's why I always, and these are not the views of the podcast. These are
They
my
might
own
be,
personal
but they
views.
might. Yes, they are.
No, this next statement, because, it might seem a little inflammatory. I never understood the Colin Kaepernick narrative. Because if we are talking about police brutality, you need to be kneeling in front of a police station. Y'all need to be going to the station and bring that. You don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, essentially, you're fighting for this man to get a job. If I get fired from my job for not being in dress code or what they said, nobody's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Nobody's gonna
watch
cut
me?
for you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, so
I can see that.
I understand the conversation. But at the same time, the tactic was off to me. Like, if we have a problem with police brutality, we need to be down at city council. We need to be at the mayor's office. We need to be at the police
Silver
station talking to
Service
the chief.
Board and things.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I found out, to me, watching it, how I believe that protests are supposed to inconvenience those persons who are in power. Right. And so if you're convening on a Saturday, it needs to be a meeting about how you're going to inconvenience the people who make the laws.
I
or
went to
how
one march. My bad.
Oh, it's okay.
I went to one march this year. Then I still cut you off.
It's okay. Tell your story, Daniel.
Because I didn't know it was a march. I got tricked into it. They said, hey, you want to come down here and speak? Yeah, I'll speak. Why not? Because I'm about to give you some real.
Let me put this fire on you.
First and foremost, they didn't let me speak. I was mad. They was just trying to get black people out there. Because it was a bunch of white people out there screaming Black Lives Matter.
We didn't want to be the only ones.
That's another conversation. But I went out there, and in my mind, I was like, okay, we where we supposed to be. We out here in front of the courthouse. This is where we supposed to be. So we were out there all of a good 5-10 minutes. Yeah, people got on their bullhorn. Mayor came out. He said, hey, I appreciate all y'all coming out here. Let's march. Where we going?
Right. We're right where we need to be.
You know what I'm saying? So then we marching. I'm low key mad, but I know some people out there, so we in the back.
You gonna march? You ain't gonna not march.
I'm here now. But they say we marching to the police station. Cool. let's do it. Let's go. Black Lives Matter. And it was real. It was really a funny story. But anyway, so we go into the courthouse. I mean, we go into the police station. And then everybody just, once we get there, everybody lay on their back and say, Mama, what is this?
Who planned this out?
And it was the most convenient march I'd ever seen.
And
they had energy drinks, they had waters, niggas was out there passing out towels. I was like, nigga, what is this?
And for me, it's if you want to protest, you have to protest. You need to make the people who are in power uncomfortable. You need to make sure that they know that until you change the law, you're gonna see me every day outside your job.
Here's my thing, and it's going to be very controversial. But I gotta say it, if you plan on making any type of change to stand for anything, you have to be willing to die. You have to have
at least mindset. Go to jail.
At least, at minimum, you have to be willing. Like, if we fighting for something that you believe in, that lets me know you really don't believe in it if you're not ready to stand on it. And this what it is. Like, because if anybody comes at my family talking about they about to harm my family, I am ready and willing to die for them. And that's just what it is. Mm-hmm. So any type of policy to protect my family, I'm going to stand on that. Or if I feel like my family has been harmed, there's consequences and repercussions there.
I just don't feel that we have that same resolve. I watched this thing about the ballot box in Alabama and how those people were beat. You know, like you watch it, you know, you see Bloody Sunday, but there were so many efforts, and the only leeway that they have is they got the kids to come out of school, like start skipping school, and the teachers really changed it. The teachers, one teacher turned his back. He said, if you still in my classroom, I'm failing you this year. So they all went down and they were protesting, like to try to register to vote. And the next, when the kids were getting arrested, all the teachers took a day off of school and went down there. And they said, you want to let these teachers in to register to vote because you don't want to have to deal with the kids, because the kids were going down there every day. And we are not as committed. We're not willing to lose our jobs. I mean, I'm not being a hypocrite. I was like, I ain't really trying to put my job into jeopardy. And that's part of that individualism they took away.
It's not even that though. Well, we don't have that sense of family, and I know dude said that we gotta,
wrap it up.
But all right, just to bring it to a point, as far as protesting and things like that, everybody likes to talk about the Montgomery bus boycotts. They weren't just out there holding signs; it was an economic boycott. And where they said they went wrong was they started getting back on the buses. That was a prime opportunity to start your own bus company, and forget them. People, we have to get in that mindset that, they apologized, so I'm about to start back. No, it don't work like that. We have to be in the mindset of getting our own, maintaining our own, and supporting our own. And that's what it is.
I totally agree with you. And we just have to do it. There's no other plan. It's no other coming together meeting. Just have to do it. You know,
Candace, this has been the Equals podcast. This has been a real episode. Is the second episode going to be able to come out? Because I remember that was a real episode too. This going to turn into something. I'm speaking it now. So I appreciate anybody that sit and listen to me ramble, that listen to Miss Candace ramble, and when you see the full ensemble, because we got a crew. I don't know if y'all know. When Miss Shanae get here, she has her own strong opinions herself.
Yes.
Brother Seven is internationally known, but unknown. So y'all actually going to get to see him.
I love Seven.
So everybody, look.
Do you know why I love Seven? Because I get to do like this. And go like, hey.
But you know what I mean? Like the health expert extraordinaire, like amongst many things. But yeah, man. So
he also makes me feel guilty for eating meat and
listen. We'll get back on that topic, but don't feel guilty for eating meat. But it's being more so health conscious of what you're putting in your body. So it's more so knowing what you're putting in. So you need to know the blueberries have these antioxidants and how they good their brain foods and stuff like that. Just like, your broccolis and you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I
sir.
say, but I brought that up earlier. You know, you got really more so often, and anybody that's listening, I would recommend that you listen to YouTuber. His name is Dr. Inky, but that's where I get a lot of this stuff from. But it basically, the heart is the foundation. From the first set, like that's the first thing that's gonna grow, your heart. So that's why I said, if anything, any type of complication, once you start having complications with your heart, that's where everything is gonna start to fold. You know, so. Really got to get in the heart and respiratory health. So, and I guess that's it, man. I'll ramble all day.
I know we end up talking because I was like,
I'm thinking this was gonna be a short show. I wanted to talk about black science fiction and stuff, but anyway,
we do need to talk about black science fiction because you talked about Tenet, so you need to rent
I
that
feel
for
like
me.
she needs to be here for that show too, though, because she was the one
so
that was
who gonna let me
explaining
see it?
quantum physics.
Quantum physics.
Oh, man.
It's just like the 3 dimensions plus time, right? Oh,
We
yeah,
signing
yeah.
out, y'all.
Oh, bye, y'all. Equals Podcast, yes.